well, it eventually became clear to me I did not have a conscious relationship with the most fundamental questions in life. Who am I? What am I doing here? What's going on? What's happening? What am I feeling? What am I feeling? What am I
Yeah.
like? Why?
I'd never asked myself for sure.
None of those questions, man. My life was really, you could categorize it as a process of always just trying to be okay. And you can categorize my life prior to the awakening process for me as running, trying to run faster than life can catch up, and eventually life caught up. Now, what I didn't know, you mentioned something earlier with how intense things are right now, and what I say to people, um, I think the biggest way to relate to that is that nobody has any context, right?
Hmm.
And I say to people, yeah, right now it's the most dramatic shift that humans have experienced in quite some time, and we can feel it, right? But many people, because they are allergic to the aliveness in their body because of the conditioning that they've experienced and the traumas, they can't be at ease or grounded currently. It's very difficult to be present because the past is coming up a lot for people. It's a regular part of what's happening right now. The past is coming up a lot for people,
Hmm.
right? And so all that means is the body's trying to process stuff, trying to trying to put things down we've been carrying for a long time, right? But we don't know how to do that. So again, people lack context. So I say to people, listen, there are things that you can do that will allow you to experience right now with joy and a level of excitement and also horror at the things you might see. Do you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
they would also be placed in a broader context, right? So, because when you go inside and you allow the, everything to catch up and again the body to eventually relax, what you're actually doing is becoming familiar with the influence of fear in your life. It's it's synonymous. So more bodily awareness is becoming more aware of when fear is active in your life.
Is it always just fear? Or is it not being able to identify whatever the emotion may be? Which even at the core level, I know we've got
Yeah.
what fear and love or whatever.
Well, the question that you're asking is too complicated, I think, to fit in the last part of
Yeah.
this
Okay.
because fear is actually a lack of coherence. There's a whole, there could be a whole podcast. So it's meaning we're not familiar with energy. So what's happening in a moment is the past comes back up, or what people would call the future, but what it's the feeling that we're interested in, that time warp that happens where the future and the past is now active, and it's like this wall that you're experiencing,
Hmm.
um, uh, that's the body's attempt to just process the experience. But the experience was recorded for us on all levels. What we saw, heard, every sense recorded the life event. Okay. So, and typically the life event, what is not being processed at the time, at the most, like proportionally, what's not being processed is the feeling of it, how painful and horrible it felt. Right. So the
Hmm.
body just didn't have the capacity, didn't have the context. Right. So we just denied it. We just literally just didn't feel it. Right.
Hmm.
And so actually what we call fear is unprocessed past material. This
Gotcha.
is what it is every time. So fear is just a conceptual word we put on a much more dynamic, multidimensional process.
I believe that's the distinction I was looking for, because I think a lot of people hear fear and they're, with failure to identify emotions, you're definitely not
Yeah.
going to hear what Jason's
It's
saying. You want it to be dismissed as
actually
if.
that we're actually afraid because we don't know what the feeling is.
Got it. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean
Yeah.
by that?
No,
Does
I
that make
totally
sense?
get it.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to explain that so
Hmm.
that somebody didn't dismiss it. So, well,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I ain't scared,
Yeah.
man. I ain't scared of
Yeah.
nothing.
I
You
know.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Which is
so
just what I would have said when you would have asked me before recovery. I would have said, no, I'm not really experiencing a lot of fear.
right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get on to some, some helpful tools, things you can identify with to see, am I headed in the right direction at least?